Dear Karina, I'm so glad to have you today here to speak about the Soul Voice method that you are the founder of and which thousands of people in the world already tried, and with hundreds of practitioners all over the world already. Please, Karina, I'm really grateful to have you today. And would you say some words about you and about the Soul Voice method? Since when is it created, actually?
Yeah, there's already a lot of questions there. First and foremost, I want to thank you also for having me in the studio here today. And I have always been very fascinated about the voice. Mm-hmm. The voice is our universe. It's our inner universe that as soon as we open our mouth, either it's communication or singing, or that's what I work with in sounding, it actually says a lot about the person, who we are. Mm-hmm. You know, it comes down to the tone of voice, which is so important because the tone of voice is not only connected to our brain or to our consciousness, but to our heart. So whatever moods we are in, or whatever we are thinking about, or we feel some tension, we sense that in the way that we speak. Now, the soul voice work is first and foremost, yes, to improve communication on all levels, but also to allow sounding this language that so many people may not know of, like how can we, an example is when you just make a sighing sound like, finally I can let go, because often we are very concentrated in our linear mind and we forget to descend into our heart and into our body wisdom. And when you start to sound, it is as if the whole body gets engaged, like all levels of our consciousness. And also the fact that it is such a powerful method because everything in the universe and inside ourselves are sound vibration or sound and light. Like scientists, they have proven that the nervous system is not electric impulses, but it is sound waves that is transmitting through us.
Vibrations, we could say.
Yeah. So it's a very powerful method to work with because as soon as you sound, it reveals a whole history of the person, actually. So but don't be scared. It's a safe method. It's a step-by-step process.
Yeah, but that's really great that this method is working with the voice, which, as you say, is somehow one of the main way to express, and that's most likely sometimes what we first hear of the people, even more days that we are communicating a lot through phones, and so that's really important. And I would say it's linked to emotions. You mentioned that a bit.
Yeah.
The physique of the person also, like really the body. But there are other more aspects that you started to speak about, which are the energetic part of the body somehow.
Yeah. You asked about when it started, so I link it to that. That I had devoted my life 30 years to research what is this human instrument that we have forgotten. I say forgotten because it is about remembering that we are sound, we are vibration. Everything that we go through in life has like a record in our cellular memory. What I have researched and what is very fascinating and interesting in the method is how to combine the mind and our consciousness with the subconscious. The subconscious is there where the emotions and the sensations and our instincts are dwelling, where there's a lot in daily life where we forget to access the heart and the emotions and the subconscious because we don't have time and space for that. We need to be very efficient and just move on. But it is really the missing link, also in various modalities, maybe, to really not bypass the heart and the subconscious and the emotional body and even the reptilian brain, because there's like 4 brains that I operate with, like the reptilian brain where our instincts and our body sensations are, and that is very important when you work with trauma or deeper issues, to come the whole way back to that instinctive feeling within the persona. And then there's the so-called limbic brain, but that's where our emotions and where our intuition also, and for me also that's the soul essence. To be in contact with our soul, dwells in our senses, in our intuition, in our emotional body. And then comes the neocortex brain, so that's where our consciousness and our mind is, and then the higher consciousness, the prefrontal or the God brain, where we hear our guidance. So we cannot hear, for me, in my method, the pure guidance if we don't dive into the core of all these levels. And again, that goes through the heart, and the heart is our master organ that I work a lot with, because all our impulses from the outside actually first comes into the heart and then to the brain, and then it goes to the nervous system and then again back to the heart. So it's very important that we work with the heart and the emotional body, and that's why people get a lot of disorders today that starts also in the heart, because we are bombarded and we need to set our choices to everything, right? But that's my main focus. It's the compassion and it's the energy from the heart that we can cultivate that. And through that, we reach our consciousness into the subconscious. And we learn to let go of control, because that's a lot about the soul voice method. How can we let go of unnecessary control so we can play with that voice that is a healing instrument?
Yeah, actually, I was about to ask that. You started to speak about different troubles that people can get, and for what soul voice can give a huge improvement, and maybe even some kind of transformation of those wounds. And would you have some example, because you started to say, for stress and different situations where we are somehow disconnected from ourselves. Would you like to explain a bit more about that?
I think it's a very important word that you are saying, disconnected, because the separation is huge with people without knowing it. I mean, separating the head from the throat, from the heart, from the solar plexus, from the base of our body. And so when we are not in line and in a wholeness inside, we can have the tendency also to disconnect or separate in the outer world. And then we don't know how to set boundaries. I think in the world with so many choices and so much happening, it is very important that we learn how to set boundaries, because as soon as people get ill of not knowing what to choose and set clear boundaries, they disconnect with themselves and their heart, and what is really important for me, and what do I really need to do. Actually, grounding is a very big issue today, that people cannot center and root themselves as a tree, basically, just really rooted in their body, like coming the whole way down. So the people who come either buy a book or come to a mini workshop or a session or longer workshops, it's from all walks of life. They come from so many different walks of life. And the first thing I would say that happens is that you get a lot of confidence in yourself. You learn how to not be stressed, because stress is to separate head and body. Basically, the body cannot follow what the mind wants to do, and too fast. So that happens almost right away, and they become safe in expressing these weird sounds, because sometimes if we just let ourselves go, it sounds a little bit strange or weird or silly. But this is a part of just accepting. You cannot do a wrong sound. You cannot express yourself false or wrong in this method. So that means you learn how to listen and how to accept yourself as you are, and send your judge on holidays, right? The judge on holidays. Because disconnecting is also about judging ourselves. Sure. I cannot be who I am, because there's so much pressure from the outside world. You have to be in a certain way. Yeah. So that liberation of that, I can just come in and sense who I am, get more vitality, do a lot of self-healing through this sound language, accelerate to be in contact with the heart and the more light side of our being, the playfulness. On a physical level, you can move physical pain very quickly. Okay. It really enhances endorphins, and like, it's like almost the sound can in no time pull out that pain, you could say. It could just really pull it out. That's the effect of when you really know the intention of what you're doing. You go directly into pain and you pull it out. Of course, over time it takes a longer time, but as a start, it's like what I teach people. How can you really pull something out of your body? This is the effect of sound that I talked about before, that it goes really directly into the core of where we need to go.
Sure. And this actually you can do during workshops of Soul Voice. And also, I think you can also meet some practitioners
yes,
all over the world for the workshops and the practitioners.
Yes. Yes.
And we can see all of this on your website. It's soulvoice.net. I will put it down in the description of this video so everyone can see.
Yeah.
But more than that, well, of course, we're speaking about the voice and the power of healing of the voice. Would you give us a bit more explanation about how, well, like the vibration, of course, are coming out, but is there anything more? Would you tell us a bit more of how does that works?
How it works how to do the sounding, how it works.
It is actually.
Sometimes you get so surprised because it's just so simple. Like, we forget to sing under the shower, right? Mm-hmm. It's like singing, but it's beyond singing. You don't need to sing to do this work. You just express a sound. Basically, the beginning is that you are opening yourself up mentally, psychologically, emotionally, but you're not thinking about it. It's almost so simple that you can't believe it, that miracles can happen so quickly. I think the most is to have an attitude as to that it's safe to reveal yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, it comes from the throat chakra because the voice comes from the throat. But I work with that we can listen with the whole body. And it's not only up here, it's about getting both our communication voice and our sounding and singing voice embodied. And for that to be embodied, we need to breathe. The breath, the deep breathing is what's make singers really resonate in their voice, and good communicators to have a really resonating chambers. So that goes to the base of the body, basically to the lower abdominal muscles and the upper abdominal muscles and the chest muscles. It's like you are expressing or communicating or singing with your whole voice, with your whole body. So that means that the breath is the key for having a resonant voice, or even for being better heard, like more volume, or so that's an essential part, that you learn how to breathe deeply.
That's I think a really good part. But I feel so much more comfortable with coming in a workshop, as you don't need to know how to sing. I'm a really bad singer. I mean, I'm the worst singer you can ever have. So I think that's also for people which are listening to us. You don't need to know how to sing. It's not there for that. It's not a singing course. It's
No.
express yourself and get deeper in you. And speaking about that, do you have any example or any story to tell us about something maybe a bit crazy? Because crazy transformation of a trainee, or if you want to speak about your personal story, it's also possible.
Yeah.
Would you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I have enormously many cases, also because the changes and transformation happens sometimes so rapidly and surprisingly. But I also want to emphasize on that question, Luca, that it's very important that we don't transform ourselves quicker than we can make the changes in the world or in our lives that matches that. Because, if we change too rapidly, then the body can't follow it.
Sure.
So it's like a commitment when you want to have transformation and deep changes. You work with it, but the work can be light and playful, in the work. But it's not just, oh yeah, let's just transform. Well, then our life will transform as well. So as soon as you tap into that, the transformations, they are happening.
So you go to the speed of sound, you don't go to the speed of light with your work.
Yeah. Which can be pretty fast also.
Yeah, sure. Of course. You said there are really things that can be done really simply and extraordinarily simply and accessible to everyone, but still it's coming at the right time and step by step to go for us to follow those changes.
Yeah. And everybody has their own rhythm. I'm very intuitive, work a lot with intuition. So I know and I sense the people, and they have their own rhythms. But as to a story, I do come back to my origin, how I started this work. And I had my healing center in Denmark, where I originally come from. And it was in 1986 1988, so it's almost 35 years ago. And at that time, I already worked as a professional bodyworker, a massage therapist and counselor and breath worker. So I already had some very established educations. But then I had an education as an actress, and I took a body mime mask theater education in Paris, actually, in France, in my early 20s. It's a while ago. No. And so that education really helps me in my therapeutic work, also to sometimes keep this deep therapeutic work lighter and have the playfulness in it and the lightness. But anyhow, in this particular session in my retreat center, I worked with this lady who had a severe abdominal pain for quite a while, and I was not able, through my coaching and counseling and body work, to pull it out or to relieve it and to understand it. And then one day, sounds just started to pour out of me in that session, and it was like a revelation from somewhere, as if the earth and the heavens sounded through me, and I couldn't stop to sound. It was like a trance, an embodied trance that has taken me, and I sounded, and it was very impressive as far as I remember it. And the good news was that after this probably had lasted for, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes or longer, the pain was completely gone. And the client understood why she had this pain and why she had kept on to it and what it meant. And I, of course, also got intuitive messages what it was. So this was an amazing revelation and initiation for me. And I'm telling that also as a concrete story, because this is what I am teaching, how to step aside and be a channel for the sound to come through you. It's like, I call it the cosmic symphony. The cosmic symphony that we have inside ourselves, but is also outside ourselves. We need to be open for all these sounds that wants to come through us. And if you can get in vibration, in alignment with your guidance and that higher creative force that guides us, then the sound can so much easier come to you. And that's what I'm teaching from the very beginning. And my practitioners and teachers teach people how to come in contact, not to stand in the way, but open up, so that it is beyond analyzing it or trying to control it, but just let it do its work, its magic, when we go beyond the mind in that. Then another vibrational intelligence is coming through, and that's that people, they, in a session or in a workshop or in a mini workshop, they just say, what? I had never imagined I could do these sounds, and they are so revealing, and they do so many things. They touch in on so many levels right away, physically, emotionally, mentally. Things starts to change.
We can say spiritually, and somehow with what you're saying right now, that somehow it got a huge spiritual link also with that, and huge links that you can, as you said in the beginning of this discussion, is that it's also scientifically proved that sounds and what you are doing is actually having a real impact on people. And now we are starting to understand a bit more, maybe every day with the science, what is happening. But what I really somehow grab from what you just said is that it's offering us to connect to something which is higher than us, and which is maybe even more important. and maybe is also a great way to be ourselves, and also then to spread, I would say, positive vibes to the world. And maybe it's what practitioners you trained felt when they started with you. Maybe some kind of call or something like that. Is there any of this you experienced it too, or people told you?
Yeah, they definitely feel a calling on that level, or that spiritual level, for sure. What I find in practitioners that takes whole education is that they drawn to a quote that in soul voice it feels like you are synergizing, you are bringing together all their life experiences and all the other modalities, healing modalities that they may already have gone through, whatever it could be. That doesn't mean that everybody has healing modality as a background. Can also be business people or just people from ordinary life that just want to try something else. But it is a synergy, the way that I have over the years, over these 30 years, composed the techniques and the exercises. It's like you go deeper and deeper and higher in that unity or that totality of evolution within you. You never separate. It goes really in. So all layers that we work with gets attuned in all practices, basically. Of course, if you have the intention to do so, I work a lot with intention. But yes, people are very interested in this unity and that simplicity and complexity that does that you can do everything through the sounding, because we are sound, vibration, we are light, and the exercises and the techniques that I have created. Of course, this is a life's work to find the techniques and the exercises that models that, so people really can be self-sustainable and they can use it as a tool to heal others through sound vibration.
Sure. I think it's a part of what you wrote in your last book. Maybe we can suggest people to read it, to learn a bit more about soul voice. And of course, I would say it's even better if they can try it with you. You are all over the world. I know you are doing every year many retreats all around the world. So it doesn't matter who the one which is looking at us today is there is somewhere close to you a Karina Schelde workshop soon for sure. So check on the website. Karina, do you have your book with you right now?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Can you show it to us? Okay.
Oh, this is one of my books. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So if people want to buy it, it's straight on your website.
Absolutely.
And do you want to say a few words about your book quickly?
Yeah. Oh, when you say that, I just have such a good quote that it opens up with that I want to read. There's a cry, a call deep within our hearts that wants to be heard. We long for the liberation of our voice and soul, to rediscover the grandeur of who we truly are as a force of the highest vibration of creation.
What I would offer, if you want, is to let those vibrations of your voice and of the sentence to the people to get a bit integrated. And we're gonna smoothly say goodbye to everyone and see you soon, and to meet you in your next workshop or online on soulvoice.net. Thank you so much, Karina.
Thank you so much, Luca. Namaste.